this is Natalie
and Oliver
with King James School News Report on Thursday the 15th of March. Today in our programme we will be discussing the low levels in literacy skills, yesterday's devastating bus crash, and we shall be talking to our local MP Andrew Jones over the closure of Leeds General Infirmary.
Here with us now is Holly, who is going to give you a roundup of the news headlines today.
Afghan Taliban say they have suspended all talks with Americans. Man found guilty of killing Edinburgh bookkeeper Suzanne Pilling. Swiss police trying to piece together how the coach carrying Belgian schoolchildren crashed. They have military planes on standby to fly home the dead. The inspector of schools say the standards of literacy isn't high enough. Turkey says at least 1,000 refugees have crossed over the borders from Syria in the last 24 hours, a sharp increase in numbers.
Our first story today is related to Ofsted's claim that literacy grades are decreasing in the Key Stage 2 age group. Now to Holly and Shannon with their report.
A recent Ofsted report has revealed that the literacy skills in 8 to 11-year-olds have not improved since 2005. Sir Michael Wilshaw told BBC 2 News Tonight that our standard should be higher. He also added, 1 in 4 children do not reach their expected level 4 in reading by the end of primary school.
Our head of English added, we have seen some weaknesses in aspects of spelling and punctuation and grammar, with students entering the school. Measures are taken to address this, but there's a wider societal issue here. Children need to read.
We now hear them interviewing the local primary school teacher, Mr. Stewart.
What do you think about the story?
Well, I think it's really important that all children should leave primary school knowing how to read. It's a precursor to everything, because if you go up to secondary school and you can't read, then your access to learning that's going to be taking place in secondary school is going to be inhibited.
What can be done in and out of school to help pupils?
I think reading is a huge area, and it starts, I think, from birth. So right at a very early age, introducing children to books, parent involvement is huge. I think then within school, schools need to be teaching phonics really well, because that's a really key way of doing. Most children respond to phonics teaching exceptionally well, so schools need to have a good way of teaching phonics to make sure that children are at the right standard by the time they leave Key Stage 1.
Have you noticed a change in the standards of progress in the pupils?
No, standards are pretty much maintained. We always at our school we have children at a spectrum of standards, and our aim is to make all those children progress. And that's the case, I imagine, in most primary schools in the country.
Joining us in the studio now is our school librarian, Anne Hussey. So, what are your initial reactions to the claim that has been made about the decrease in literacy standards?
Well, to be honest, it comes as no surprise to me. As a school librarian, I do notice that we only have a small percentage of regular readers. And it's true to say that if you're a regular reader and you visit the library and you always have a book on the go, you tend to do well in other areas of your school life as well. It can be difficult to engage students with reading for pleasure, and it should be seen as a pleasure. It shouldn't be seen as a chore. And we need to encourage more of it.
Okay. In your opinion, what do you think will be the most effective way to illuminate the problems?
I think that schools need to have a committed head teacher. I think schools need to have a strong leadership team that understand the problems and support the librarian. We need to have adequate funding in schools. In order to, obviously highlight the problem and encourage the students to read at home as well. It's not only the job of the schools, but if parents can get behind their children as well. I see it as a two-way thing, really. So, hopefully this report will highlight the problems as well.
Like Mr. Stewart, do you think that the age which people start to read affects their literacy levels?
I think you can never start too early. I was introduced to books at a very young age. Both my parents read. We always had books at home. So I just found them quite natural to pick a book and read. So I would say, no, let's start them, the younger the better. It would be great if when students come up to secondary school they're competent readers. You know, they're not struggling in their geography, they're not struggling in history. You need to be able to read in order to work well right across the curriculum.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Yesterday in Switzerland there was a devastating bus crash in which 22 school children died. Alea is here to tell us more.
The Belgian authorities are preparing to fly home the bodies of 22 innocent children and 6 adults killed in a coach crash in Switzerland. The coach carrying 52 people back to Belgium following a skiing trip from the Stake School had attended the week-long school trip. But by lunchtime the following day, 18 were still unaccounted for. Relatives of the victims were later flown to Switzerland, many still unsure about the fate of their children. Another 24 children were injured, some critically, and both the drivers were among the dead. In the late night accident near the town of Sierre in southern West Canton, early on Wednesday, distorted relatives attended several meetings at St. Lambertus School, where they were given the names of pupils who were known to survive. Parents who know their children are alive are relieved, but for the others it's terrible, said parish priest Kurt de Gendert. But Belgian Foreign Minister said most of the children were aged about 12, and the bus was one of third hired by a Christian group. The other 2 reached Belgium safely. About 100 relatives later flew to Switzerland on board a government plane. Mr. Elsig said the speed of the bus was still to be determined, but there was no indication that it was travelling too fast. The children on the bus were wearing seatbelts, and no other vehicle was involved, he added. Our deepest condolences are with the families of the victims. This is Alea reporting from King James School.
Thank you. The local LGI unit is to be closed down. However, lots of the local citizens are against this, including one of our reporters, Jasmine, who interviewed our MP, Andrew Jones.
The LGI paediatric cardio unit has been threatened with closure after government cuts. This means the NHS now doesn't have the funds to support the cardio unit, all the cardio units in the UK. There are 11 units in total, and the plans are for this to be cut down to 6 or 7. The units under threat of closure are Glenford Hospital in Leicestershire, Leeds General Infirmary and the Royal Brompton in London. All these units are now under review to see which ones are least needed in the UK, and all the patients of the units will be transferred to the next nearest unit. Many petitions and fundraisers across North Yorkshire have taken place to save the LGI. To hear the plans and views on this, I contacted our local MP, Andrew Jones, on how he feels with our unit under threat. Firstly, I asked him the question of how he felt about the LGI unit closing down.
Well, I'm worried about it. I'm worried about it because the Children's Heart Unit is an important local facility, and this is a really difficult issue because you're dealing with, firstly, a very emotive issue, and really ill children captures everybody's hearts, and the whole issue has to be tackled very sensitively as a result.
Do you know when the decision will actually be made of if it's closing down or not?
We haven't got a final date for when the decision will be made public, but I'm expecting it probably within a few months now.
If it does close down, what do you think about the possibility of lives being lost because of the distance to travel to the next nearest heart unit in Newcastle?
Well, I'm not sure we'll have lives lost. The issue is about making sure, but people do understand as well, they have to travel to areas of expertise, so people know that if you want top oncology care, you might have to travel a little further than our local hospital. Doctors, nurses, people who are actually at the front line to that specialist treatment which they may require. There is an emergency nature to some heart surgery and heart treatment, so distance I think is a feature. I'm not sure necessarily it would be lives lost because the whole idea of this review is actually to say that's what the doctors are being told to deliver, a solution which saves.
Right, well, thank you for your time, Miss Jones. It's been really nice talking to you.
No problem at all. Very good luck with your project. It sounds really interesting.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
In a recent press conference, it has been stated that our mission in Afghanistan is in its final phase. Alea reports.
The mission in Afghanistan is moving to its final phase. David Cameron said this at the joint press conference with the US President Barack Obama. Speaking at the White House, both leaders stressed that the progress had been made in the country, despite losses of US, British and Afghan lives. International forces will take on a support role from 2013 and Afghans will fully take over security in 2014. The MP said, They will not give up on this mission, despite its high cost. Tensions are high in Afghanistan after an American staff sergeant, who has not been named or charged, shot dead 16 Afghan civilians, including women and children, in Afghanistan on Sunday. He's been flown to Kuwait after the Afghan President, Hamid Karzai, accepted the suspect could be tried in a US court, providing the process was transparent. Afghan MPs have demanded that the man should be tried in Afghanistan. However, correspondents say that the scenario is very unlikely. US President Barack Obama said, "We are going to complete this mission and we're going to do it responsibly." What we can never forget is our forces that are making this a real progress, shifting to a support role next year in 2013 in advance of Afghans taking full responsibility for security in 2014. Mr. Obama said troops were making headway against the Taliban and Al-Qaeda and that they were training Afghan forces. During his press conference, David Cameron says, "We will not give up on this mission because Afghanistan must never be a safe haven for Al-Qaeda to launch attacks against us. We will not build a perfect Afghanistan, although let's be clear, we are making some tangible progress." The dynamics of modern warfare is devastating. Violence has solved no problems. The Afghan Taliban say that they have suspended all contact with the Americans. On the contrary, we have witnessed leads to more violence and terrorist attacks. This is Alea Shazad reporting from King James School.
Thank you, Alea. And now we go over to Joe and Charlie with the sport.
The sport headlines today are: Richard Buck's Olympic dreams relight, 5 horses die in 2 days, Tevez to play again, and racism scares grassroots at football in Wales. He says it's the ugly side of a beautiful game. Also, Chelsea versus Napoli.
5 horses die in 2 days. On Wednesday the 14th of March, Cheltenham Racecourse was like a battlefield after several horses were injured during the Coral Cup. Some were as bad as broken legs, fractures and facial injuries. This isn't usual at the races, as down the years the amounts have been around 2. That day will go down in history as after 27 races, 375 jockeys, all since 2000, and the fatality came today. Also, Tevez to play again. After 6 long months, the Man City player Carlos Tevez may be featuring in the match against Chelsea, who all started in their 2-0 defeat with Bayern Munich when he refused to warm up. Since then, Tevez, aged 28, has been told several times he may never play again. However, after playing for the reserves in the last few matches, manager Mancini thinks he's ready to step up again.
Chelsea overcome their horror first leg versus Napoli after winning 4-1. However, it had to go to extra time for them to snatch the win. John Terry quoted, "We prove we are a team. The desire, the togetherness, we showed that what Chelsea are made of." British 400-metre runner Richard Brooks hopes of competing at the Summer Olympic Games in London. He has been boosted following the donation of £10,000 from an anonymous benefactor. Brooks, aged 25, received a cheque from the 90-year-old donor after appearing on ITV's calendar. The York-born athlete won a silver as part of a 4x400 metre relay team at the recent World Indoor Athletes Championship. Will his dream come true?
Abby is here to tell us the entertainment news today. Over to you, Abby.
The Hunger Games premiered in the UK last night on the 14th of March. With much anticipation, it will be released to the cinemas on the 23rd of March. The Hunger Games trilogy has already been hailed as the next Twilight, and the leading character Jennifer Lawrence is already becoming a household name. Twilight star Peter Fasinelli and Jenny Garth announced their divorce last night after 11 years of marriage. There were rumours of an affair, but the couple made a statement saying the rumours are untrue and hurtful to their family and that there were no third parties involved. Sian Williams ends her role as presenter on BBC Breakfast because its studio is moving to Salford and she has family commitments that she doesn't want to move away from. She's going to rejoin Radio 4. Disney Pixar's latest movie, Brave, is about a girl who causes chaos in the kingdom and goes to a wise old woman for help and becomes cursed and has to undo the spell before it's too late. Brave will have its European premiere at the Edinburgh International Film Festival and will be released to cinemas on the 15th of June.
Scott Stockdale, a student at King James School, has been selected to carry the Olympic torch. Natasha and Holly interviewed him.
How did you get nominated to carry the Olympic torch?
I was put forward by a person called Damien Smith, who I've done a lot of volunteering work with in the Harrogate area, and from there I was put forward to LOCOG, who then selected me to be a torchbearer.
How does it feel to represent Knaresborough?
It feels very special. I feel quite honoured, well, very honoured, and it was such a huge surprise when I found out I'd been selected.
Are you nervous about dropping the torch?
A little bit, yeah. A lot of people have said, don't drop it in the river and all this, so yeah, it is a little bit scary.
Do you do any sports inside and outside of school?
I do a lot of football and athletics, so I play for Harrogate Railway football, and I also do a bit of cricket as well, so yeah.
Do you have any Olympic aspirations?
Not really. I'd quite like to help out on the volunteering side of the Olympics, perhaps be like a field marshal or something like that, but to actually compete, I don't think so. It requires a lot of hours of training, and I just don't think I'd be cut out for it, unfortunately.
Have you thought about what you're going to wear? Are you going to wear any King James school tartan?
Yeah, I might wear a tie and a blazer maybe, I don't know.
And now it's time for the weather with Tash.
Hi, in Knaresborough today, it'll be sunny with possible fog later. There'll be heights of 16 degrees in the day and lows of 2 degrees in the night. On Friday, it'll be partly sunny with heights of 12 degrees and lows of 3 degrees. And on Saturday, there'll be a chance of rain with heights of 10 degrees and lows of 3 degrees. On Sunday, it'll be chance of rain again with heights of 11 degrees and lows of 0 degrees. On a wider scale, there'll be a little bit of sunshine for central and eastern areas, and it will stay cloudier elsewhere. It will be mainly cloudy with mist and locally dense fog at first. A lot of central and eastern areas will thankfully becoming sunnier and warmer. It will continue to be cloudy in the west with patchy drizzle and a few outbreaks of rain in western Scotland and Northern Ireland.
And finally tonight it's the British Animation Awards, so we went into our local town Knaresborough to ask people what their favourite cartoon character is.
This is Alea and Natasha reporting. The British Animation Awards are back tonight, and the hot topic is our favourite British animated character.
The BAA are running an online poll of who is Britain's favourite animated character of all time.
There are lots of nominees. Who would you choose?
Me and Alayla hit the streets to find out who your favourite animated character is.
Who's your favourite animated character?
Oh, my favourite. Oh, you got me that Bambi.
Bambi?
Yes.
Thank you. What is your favourite animated character?
Oh, Shrek.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Probably Lisa Simpson.
Character.
Which one? Which cartoons do you like watching on telly? You remember? No, not Hollyoaks, no.
Woody. Quagmire.
It's Woody, he's got to be the original Woody.
Yeah, I'd go with Woody or Buzz. Pikachu.
There you go. Thank you. What's it for? What's your favourite animated character?
Oh, I think it's... Now then. I'm not sure. I tell you the truth. I don't know. No. Can't think of one. They put me on the spot.
Alright. What's your favourite animated character?
Shaun the Sheep.
Thank you.
This has been BBC School News Report 2012, presented by me, Oliver.
Me, Natalie, with Jasmine, Holly, Emma, Tash, Abby, Shannon, Joe, Charlie and Alea. This has been a KJS Media Production.